How's it going, everybody? My name's Seamus, but you can call me Schweem, and today we're going to be looking at my Godot development setup in Linux. This video is kind of piggybacking off of the upload from Tuesday. I figured that since I gave you guys a tour of kind of my general setup and talked you through why I had things kind of configured that way, that now it would be a good idea to kind of bridge these kind of two concepts that I have going on the channel, which so far is Linux and Godot, and I'm going to talk about kind of how I utilize my Linux desktop setup to kind of empower and improve my Godot kind of dev workflow. I mean, it's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be kind of me walking through some kind of configurations and settings, kind of like the last video, a little bit more informal. Once again, I'm just kind of sitting down with the mic. We're going to be doing this kind of together here. So, I mean, I think it should be pretty fun. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy. Without further ado, I guess we can kind of just get into it. So the first setup that I kind of want to talk about here is using an external text editor in Godot. Sometimes you have just general configurations and setups that you're kind of more used to in other tools, and I appreciate that Godot recognizes that you may want to do that. If we go into the editor, under editor settings, we can scroll down to text editor and external. Here you can define what external text editor you want to use and if you want to use it at all. So this is really convenient. Like sometimes I go back and forth on whether or not I want to use an external editor. Generally speaking, tiling window managers make this more appealing to me because I'll have my text editor in one workspace and Godot in the other. I think if I had a bigger screen, I might do some multitasking, but there's a lot going on visually with Godot, and I just don't think that I have enough room to have a text editor on the side. Either use a separate screen or separate workspaces. For the context of this video, just so I can kind of show them both easily, I'm going to be using two separate workspaces, but often I'll just have it up on my right monitor and editor up in the left, and that works very well. So in my case, this is going to open VSCode. That's defined by the exec path that tells it to open code. That's the same command that I would type into my shell. I believe that this is going to be the same across all platforms. I can't speak exactly for Windows, but I can say that this configuration is identical on my Linux desktop and my MacBook. Underneath of exec path, we have the exec flags. These do just a couple of different things. So the first part is project, which tells VS Code to open the project folder as opposed to the standalone file. This is nice because instead of just opening a little window each time, it's going to open up your entire workspace, and then that's going to allow it to just kind of open files from within that rather than trying to reinitialize VS Code each time. Additionally, we have the go-to line, and so that's going to be for like the debugger or the stack trace. That just tells VS Code to open at that specific point, so a certain point in the line in the file. And so that's nice if you're doing any kind of debugging. That allows you to get that same kind of tightly knit integration that you'd expect from the default editor. Last but not least, we have the use external editor flag. That one's pretty straightforward. That just toggles whether or not you're going to use your external editor. That's nice because you can turn it off without losing all your config to just use the embedded script editor, and then you can turn it back on to go back to using VS Code or NeoVim or whatever you may be using. Generally speaking, I find this setup to be really nice. It integrates very well, and it's pretty straightforward to set up. The syntax I think is going to be a little bit different if you're using something other than VS Code, but if you're using something like Cursor or any other VS Code derivatives, it should be the same. Once you have all this set up, getting into VS Code is very straightforward. Like I said before, either the stack trace or the debugger, clicking on errors in there will take you directly to the source of those errors within your code. Alternatively, from within the scene tree, you can just click on the normal open script button that you would, and instead of opening it in the integrated editor, it'll open VS Code. The first time that you do this, it's not going to look like mine does. You're probably not going to have syntax highlighting. That's because you need the godot-tools extension from the VS Code extension store. It's very simple. It's going to be the first one that pops up when you search for Godot. Just for good measure, I'll go ahead and pull it up here. If we search for godot-tools, here it is. This is going to give you your syntax highlighting, your IntelliSense. It even has some kind of scene integrations and things like that. Haven't used those tools very much. I mainly use VS Code really just for the text editing purposes. And so this plugin is worth it in itself just for the benefit of like the syntax highlighting, the IntelliSense, the autocomplete, all those kinds of things. And yeah, I mean, as you can see, GD script now looks completely at home within VS Code. And I think that's great. I think this is highly usable. Like I mentioned before, I like to just kind of swap between my editor and my VS Code when I need it. On top of that, the integration is nice. Like I talked about before with that project flag, instead of opening a new instance of VS Code and having all these windows start piling up, because we have that flag in place, it's just going to keep revisiting the already open project in this window, and that just makes things very tidy and organized. It saves you some keystrokes from having to switch between the workspaces. The fact that it swaps over automatically, it's just very pleasant. Integration is well thought out and well implemented in my opinion. The next tool I want to talk about in my setup is a little bit less focused on the actual kind of development side of things, but I still think that it is relevant to mention as it's a crucial part of the entire game making process. So that is going to be Aseprite. I just kind of want to talk about Aseprite for a second. It's been kind of a pivotal tool in my setup. I was using Pixel Edit for a very long time. Even after it was deprecated, it didn't get updates for many years, and I still stuck with it because it was the best program that I had. Eventually, I learned that you could actually just build Aseprite from source, and so suddenly there wasn't even a paywall. Once I learned how to do that, that kind of kickstarted things, and not only was it a great tool to start using, but it also opened my eyes to the idea that that was even an option for certain things. That was a couple years ago at this point. It was kind of early on in my whole journey with all of this, and yeah, it was really cool, and I think it's a great piece of software. So I have it open here in my third workspace, and this is what it looks like. I don't have it customized or themed or anything like that. I'm not really sure if you can. I think that the default interface is very nice though. Aseprite's very powerful. It can be very simple if you want it to be, but it also has very sophisticated animation and like onion skinning kind of features if you're doing complex layers or multiple frames. I think that it's great. It supports custom palettes. It also has a lot of really good ones built in. And yeah, I mean, I use this for everything. All of the art that you've seen in all of the games that I have posted here on the channel have been made with Aseprite, and it's great. You can get it on Steam or from their website or itch or all kinds of other places for I believe $10 or $20. Alternatively, you can build it from source on their GitHub. Process can be a little scary just following the documentation. There are a bunch of repositories that offer kind of automated scripts for making the build process more simple, and I would highly suggest those if you're intimidated by trying to build the project itself. It just has a couple like weird dependencies. I'm not really sure what the Skia library is, but that's always the issue that I was having, was trying to link that into the build. Aseprite's great, and it's kind of the missing piece of the puzzle here. With all that out of the way, that kind of covers all that I wanted to talk about today. This video is probably going to be longer than I wanted it to be to begin with, but in general, I just kind of wanted to sit down and talk about my setup and maybe give you guys an idea for some ways that you can kind of modify or augment your Godot workflows as well. Everything that I talk about here should be compatible with any operating system. Obviously, some things like the parameters for executing your applications, and then also based on what application you're using for like your text editor, the flags there will change too. But overall, you can achieve all of these things on Linux, Mac, and Windows. Tiling window managers, text editors, all those things, very universal ideas. And so hopefully this can give you kind of an abstract blueprint for ways that you can enhance your workflow. For me, even things like just keeping the theme consistent is kind of huge for keeping my focus going. I start noticing little things and it starts to distract me, and I can quickly kind of spiral. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this kind of quick little video talking about my Godot setup this week, and I hope that you're enjoying the content in general. This first month here on YouTube has been awesome. I'm really enjoying kind of continuing to figure out what works, what doesn't, and trying to improve with each upload here. Next week, I'm not sure if I'm going to do 2 videos like I did this week, but I'm probably going to shoot for it. I keep going into these with the intention of making them 5 or 6 minutes, and then they keep ending up being like 10 plus. So we'll see what happens. I'm just going to try and keep the content coming, and I hope that you guys continue to enjoy. Let me know down below in the comments what kind of stuff you want to see in the future. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. I have been on YouTube for about a month now, and I'm really enjoying the grind. Just kind of making videos about Linux and game development, and honestly, kind of anything that I'm interested in or working on right now. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do that and continuing to share my ideas with you guys here on the channel. So yeah, that's all from me today. Thanks for checking this out, and I will see you guys next time.